Hanju cursed silently. The more he looked at Greedy Lord, the more he disliked him. This fellow had actually become like him in the future. It was simply unforgivable. Hanju had to kill him. Now, this kid came knocking on his door. Under Hanju's gaze, Greedy Lord kept muttering strange incantations. The power of the curse kept attacking Hanju. Very weak. Hanju felt that it was almost impossible for him to even catch a cold from the curse. Soon, the scene shattered and Hanju returned to the Khanate cave abode. He was secretly puzzled. The current Greedy Lord didn't even have any hatred towards him. Why did he curse him? Could it be that it was like Xue Mingyi who directly cursed the entire heavenly court? That shouldn't be the case. How could this fellow be so capable? Unknowingly, the sixth mystic divine origin was also a weakling in Hanju's eyes. He wondered if he should derive the reason. Forget it! In any case, the future had already changed. The Heavenly Emperor could still live until the end of the calamity. Hanju couldn't be bothered to care why Greedy Lord cursed him. I'll give him 10 billion years first. Hanju didn't curse immediately but waited for the curse to end. After about 5 minutes, Greedy Lord stopped cursing him. Hanju continued to wait. 10 years later, Hanju stopped cultivating and took out the Book of Misfortune directly, then started to curse Greedy Lord. After all, curses were sustainable. If he reversed the curse when Greedy Lord cursed him, he might very well tell immortal Emperor Samsara that he was the Dark Forbidden Lord, causing his identity to be exposed. Hanju knew his limits. The hatred of the Dark Forbidden Lord was too great. He was undoubtedly the number one in the immortal world. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan began to decrease. He cursed with all his might. How could a mere 6 mystic divine origin block the curse containing 10 billion years of lifespan? In the dark cave abode, Greedy Lord's body twisted violently as if there were energies running rampant. His expression was extremely ugly. He began to bleed from his 7 apertures and his eyes were bloodshot. Damn it! Who cursed me? Greedy Lord was furious. The first people he thought of were not Hanju, but Ji Xianxin and Fang Liang. Recently, he had been following these two and had secretly killed many of their enemies. It was naturally possible to offend powerful enemies. Greedy Lord was furious. It was all immortal Emperor Samsara's fault for not treating him as a human. He always made him do these dirty and tiring types of work. At this moment, the curse power became stronger and stronger. Greedy Lord couldn't be bothered with anger and was filled with fear. He tried his best to resist the cursed power. Several hours later, boom! His body exploded into pools of blood. His soul trembled and was still circulating his energy to resist. He couldn't hold on much longer. Greedy Lord suddenly looked up and rushed out of the cave abode. Outside the cave was a magnificent mountain range. He flew into the sky and traversed millions of kilometers in the blink of an eye, quickly arriving in front of a lake. Ji Xianxin and Fang Liang were meditating by the lake. Sensing his aura, they stood up and prepared to fight. Tell immortal Emperor Samsara. Someone cursed me. Just as Greedy Lord finished speaking, his soul couldn't withstand the explosion of his divine origin. His body and soul were destroyed. Ji Xianxin and Fang Liang were stunned. They were baffled. They didn't know him. The two of them looked at each other. Ji Xianxin sighed. It's the Dark Forbidden Lord again. This person is really pitiful. Fang Liang's expression was solemn. He clearly felt that Greedy Lord was not simple. He was at least at the deity realm. A mighty deity realm cultivator was actually cursed to death. How strong was the Dark Forbidden Lord? Fang Liang said seriously, let's not talk about this. The Dark Forbidden Lord is very powerful. If we tell him, he will probably target us. Hearing this, Ji Xianxin couldn't help but shiver. The fates of the Demon Emperor, the Heavenly Tao Buddha, Zhu Tu, and Greedy Lord were still vivid in his mind. He didn't want to be targeted by the Dark Forbidden Lord. He nodded and decided to hide it. Inside the Khanate cave abode, Hanju's lifespan had already decreased by 4 billion years when he suddenly felt the power of the curse vanish. It was as if he had lost his target. Could it be that Greedy Lord was dead? Hanju couldn't see the notification from the email and couldn't help but ask. Greedy Lord has been destroyed in body and soul. This time, his lifespan was not deducted. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief and put away the book of misfortune in satisfaction. According to the plot of an ordinary novel, Greedy Lord was definitely a potential enemy of the protagonist. Unfortunately, he encountered a protagonist like Hanju. I won't give you a chance to develop or show off. I'll strangle you to death. Without Greedy Lord, what would Tai Su-qian do? Hanju started to adjust his state and checked the recent emails. Your good friendly Dao Kong was cursed by a mysterious curse. Because he has the supreme treasure, he is not affected. Your Dao companion Xing Hongxian has learned a mystical power and comprehended the heavenly Dao. Your good friend Han Ming received guidance from a mysterious mighty figure. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor has become a person facing the calamity. Your good friend Huang Zuntian has obtained the providence of the Jie school and had his providence increased greatly. Your good friend Divine General was attacked by the Divine Palace's Immortal Emperor, X-134. Your good friend Pen Xian was attacked by the Master of the Immeasurable Calamity and was severely injured. Your disciple Long Hao has received the inheritance of your enemy Li Xianao. His sword Dao has increased greatly. The Heavenly Emperor had become someone facing the calamity. Hanju only frowned slightly and was not surprised. It would be strange if he was not someone facing the calamity. However, the number of people who could face the calamity was indeed strange. For a weakling like Zhou Fan to become one, could it be that there was a sage plotting behind the scene? Hanju felt that it was very likely. The Heavenly Dao was impartial, so there must be a reason why it was biased now. Looking down, why was Pen Xian this old fellow attacked again? It shouldn't be in the Nine Nether Purgatory. Otherwise, it was impossible for Han Li to not sense it. There was also Li Xianao. He actually took the opportunity to guide Long Hao. What was he doing? Hanju smelled a conspiracy. The Heavenly Emperor had said that Long Hao had betrayed him. The thoughts of the two disciples were unfathomable. Hanju continued reading. The Heavenly Court was still peaceful. Only a few immortals were attacked, and even curses were rare. Several months later, Liu Bei finally returned. Hanju moved him into the Khanate cave abode. Liu Bei looked unscathed. Why did you take so long? Hanju frowned and asked. He almost thought that Liu Bei was dead. Liu Bei said helplessly, there's nothing I can do about the delay in the Heavenly Court. I heard from the immortal god who sent the pills that there's a drastic change in the Heavenly Court. Change? Hanju was puzzled. Didn't the Heavenly Court not start a war? What other changes were there? He accepted the Dao pills and let Liu Bei out. Hanju put the bottle aside and took out the Heavenly Dao token to contact the Heavenly Emperor. However, the Heavenly Emperor did not answer. Visit NOV CM for the L test updates. What happened? Hanju panicked. He checked his interpersonal relationships and saw that the Heavenly Emperor's portrait was still there. Let's wait and see. Hanju forcefully suppressed his worry. 5 years later, Hanju contacted the Heavenly Emperor again. This time, the Heavenly Emperor quickly contacted him with his divine sense. Before he could speak, the Heavenly Emperor suddenly said, "Don't contact me anymore." Hanju's heart tightened when he heard that. He asked carefully, "Your Majesty, what's wrong?" The Heavenly Emperor sighed and said faintly, "A sage has tampered with the providence of the Heavenly Court and me. My fate is already in chaos. You can't be involved in my karma anymore. Otherwise, if the calamity descends, you will be implicated no matter where you hide." Wait. The Dao ancestor who bound the sages had already vanished. So what if they crossed the line now? Hanju asked, "Your Majesty, don't you have the support of a sage?" The Heavenly Emperor smiled bitterly. The Heavenly Court is backed by the Heavenly Tao. The other sages won't touch it, afraid that they will be affected by the Heavenly Tao's karma. Nonsense! I saw you plotting with a sage. Hanju ridiculed him in his heart, but he didn't dare to refute. He asked, "How's Howard's situation? Has he still not returned?" "Humph, don't mention him. He has already become an enemy of the Heavenly Court." "Why? What happened?" "Don't ask about these things. I'll be ashamed if I tell you." "Fine." The Heavenly Emperor had said so Hanju didn't ask further. The two of them ended the contact after a few words. Hanju clearly realized that something big had happened in the Heavenly Court. However, since the Heavenly Emperor was unwilling to say it, he did not ask. After putting down the Heavenly Tao token, Hanju looked at the Tao pills. He opened the bottle and took out a Tao pill to consume. To be able to help a deity realm cultivator cultivate, it had to be said that the human school was truly impressive. It was said that alchemy originated from the human school. No wonder the two disciples of the human school were so strong. With medicinal pills and resources, their cultivation levels were naturally not low. Of course, the human school's teachings were powerful to begin with. After the Tao pill entered his body, it directly transformed into boundless connate chi that flowed wantonly in his body and transformed into divine origin dermic powers. It was very effective. Hanju was a little surprised. He originally thought that this pill didn't have much effect and was useless. He didn't expect him to underestimate the human school's foundation. Several days later, after Hanju consumed this Tao pill, it was better than decades of bitter cultivation. He continued to consume it. 2 months later, Hanju finished consuming all the Tao pills. His cultivation had already reached the critical point and was about to break through to the three mystic divine origin. Hanju opened his eyes. He was extremely grateful to the Heavenly Emperor. Such a divine pill was a priceless treasure. The Heavenly Emperor had actually given him 10 Tao pills at once. Next, he could prepare to break through. Heavenly Court, Numinous Palace. The Heavenly Emperor and Li Daokong were alone. Li Daokong smiled and asked, "Have you distributed the 20 Tao pills?" The Heavenly Emperor smiled. "Yes, thank the sect master for me." Li Daokong shook his head and smiled. "Now that the sages have entered the calamity, the human school has to support you. I heard from my master that the great Tao calamity might arrive after several calamities. There isn't much time for the Heavenly Tao. If the Heavenly Court can win the calamity, you can cross the deity realm of the ruins of End and head to the ancient desolate. You can make preparations early." The Heavenly Emperor's smile vanished as he asked, "What do you think of your junior's recent actions?" His eyes narrowed with killing intent. Li Daokong didn't seem to sense his killing intent as he said, "He only has himself to blame. If he wants to stop the Heavenly Court, I will personally suppress him. Your Majesty, you don't have to worry about him. He just wants to go against me. There's no conspiracy." The Heavenly Emperor was deep in thought. Li Daokong continued, "Zhu Tu isn't dead. I caught a hint of him and plan to hunt him down." The Heavenly Emperor replied, "Don't do this for the time being. Zhu Tu escaped by abandoning everything, so he's not a threat. Now that the Divine Palace has collapsed, the Heavenly Court needs to annex them and the Demon Court before making preparations." Li Daokong nodded. Di La Tian of the Golden Crow Divine Clan has been restless recently. He wants to raise the banner of the ancient Heavenly Court and absorb the ancient races. You will represent the Heavenly Court to deal with them, the Heavenly Emperor said casually. Li Daokong immediately agreed. 7 years later, Hanju successfully broke through to the three mystic divine origin. His divine origin dermic powers soared as he basked in the sublimating comfort. As he consolidated his cultivation, he checked his attributes panel. Name, Hanju. Race, Primordial Fiend Celestial. Cultivation, 3 Mystic Divine Origin. Technique, primordial chaos reincarnation Great Tao, heavenly cycle body tempering. Great Tao of life and death, Great Tao of karma. This breakthrough doubled his lifespan. Not only did it make up for his losses, but the total also increased greatly. Hanju looked at his lifespan and felt a sense of achievement. It was all thanks to the Heavenly Emperor that he had saved a period of bitter cultivation. Otherwise, he would have to wait for at least another 200 years. Hanju continued to consolidate his cultivation. 3 years later, his cultivation level had completely stabilized. He took out the Book of Misfortune and prepared to curse Zhu Tu. Since this fellow only had a trace of his remnant soul left, he might as well curse him to death to prevent unnecessary trouble. There would definitely be new enemies in the future. Hanju didn't want to be tied down by the fallen enemies. No matter how cunning you are, I'll kill you. Hanju injected his divine origin dermic powers into the Book of Misfortune and cursed with all his might. 5 days later, his lifespan began to decrease. This time, Hanju was determined to kill Zhu Tu. Yi billion years of lifespan. R billion years of lifespan. Wu billion years of lifespan. Ba billion years of lifespan. Niwa wants to visit you in your dreams. Do you accept? A line of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanju. He couldn't help but be stunned. He immediately thought of something. Perhaps it was related to Zhu Tu. Could it be that Zhu Tu looked for a sage to help him? Since sages couldn't spy on the Dao field, they could only use this method. The Heavenly Emperor had used it before. Hanju hesitated. Should he accept it? If he accepted it, would he be exposed? Originally, sages couldn't spy on the Dao field. If he entered the dream world, would she find an opportunity? Wait! What am I afraid of? I have Empress Hutu behind me. If Zhu Tu survived, he would definitely continue to find trouble with him in the future. It was impossible to resolve it. Hanju gritted his teeth and continued cursing this fellow had to die. Niwa wants to visit you in your dreams. Do you accept? Niwa wants to visit you in your dreams. Do you accept? Niwa wants to visit you in your dreams. Do you accept? Such notifications kept appearing in front of Hanju. He pretended not to see them. Finally, when Hanju's lifespan was deducted to 10 billion years, his curse suddenly ended. He asked in his heart, is Zhu Tu dead? Visit NOV CM for the L-test updates. Zhu Tu's body and soul have been destroyed. He is dead. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. He felt more at ease now. It was worth mentioning that Niwa did not hate him. It seemed that Niwa didn't realize that the Dark Forbidden Lord was Hanju. She had only used some mystical power to trace the curse. If Hanju agreed just now, wouldn't it reveal that he was the Dark Forbidden Lord? The more Hanju thought about it, the more glad he was. He was almost frightened by the sage. The Book of Misfortune might be deduced by a sage, but with the Dao field, it was very difficult for a sage to deduce it. In the future, the curse can only be done in the Dao field. I can't bring the Book of Misfortune out. Hanju thought silently, and his eyes became firm. Although his cultivation level was constantly increasing, he still had to tread on thin ice from now on, and he could not be careless. Several months later, Hanju suddenly felt Empress Hutu's aura. It was obvious that she was deliberately emitting it and waiting for him to see her. Therefore, Hanju spread his divine sense and quickly arrived in front of her. Empress Hutu's body was filled with a blinding light. Her true appearance could not be seen. Empress, what's the matter? Hanju asked. He suddenly thought of something and felt his blood run cold. Empress Hutu couldn't see through the Dao field either, but knowing Hanju's existence, could it be that only his Dao field could not be seen through by the sages in the entire immortal world? Through this point, if they deduced... Hanju was puzzled. Could it be that someone wanted to avoid calamity like him? He asked, does Empress know their background? Empress Hutu said, I don't. That's why I'm reminding you. Recently, the heavenly secrets have been in chaos. It's suspected that a sage has taken action. The calamity will become even more complicated. Hanju asked in surprise, aren't you a sage too? Which sage did it? Who said I'm a sage? I'm only relying on reincarnation to be undying and indestructible. I can't compare to a sage in terms of Dao fruit. Hanju knew that this was bad. He had overestimated his backing. However, it's not that easy for a sage to target me. Empress Huta changed the topic, her tone filled with confidence. Hanju asked, is there a place or Dharma treasure in this world that can avoid the prying of a sage? Of course. There are some danger zones like the Nine Nether Purgatory and the Dark Forbidden Zone that even sages can't directly spy on. Sages can only spy on the Heavenly Dao. There are also Heavenly Dao Supreme treasures that can resist the prying of sages. In short, although sages are omnipotent, they can't act recklessly. Empress Huta's answer made Hanju heave a sigh of relief. That was good. If only his Dao field could not be spied on by the sages would definitely know that he was the Dark Forbidden Lord. How could he continue? Empress Huta teased, do you also have a Heavenly Dao Supreme treasure? I can't even deduce where the Nether race is. Hanju laughed dryly, tacitly agreeing. This was the only way. He not only had a Heavenly Dao Supreme treasure. It seemed that the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus had an even stronger function. Hanju said, Empress, don't worry. I'll protect the Nether race. Empress Huta said, actually, as long as you hide well, you shouldn't be discovered. I'll hide well. Empress Huta dissipated into smoke, and countless stars scattered. Hanju retracted his divine sense. He controlled Hidden Sect Island to move and change locations to avoid being exposed. 2 hours later, Hanju asked in his heart, I want to know if anyone knows that I'm the Dark Forbidden Lord. Including the sages. 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? His lifespan would also be deducted from his own karmic derivation? Could it be that it involved a sage? Hanju silently chose to continue. If he didn't ask clearly, it would be difficult for him to cultivate in peace. No! Hanju heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the response. Thinking about it carefully, it made sense. Hanju had been cursing in the Dao field. While the enemies of the curse were becoming stronger, the Dao field was also increasing. When he started to threaten the sage's pawns, he had already entered the Nine Nether Purgatory. The sages couldn't predict it. Before this, the sages had no reason to be calculative. Perhaps they knew that he was different, but they didn't associate him with the Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju was relieved, and his mood became good again. He had to be more careful in the future. Hanju began to improve his Sword Dao mystical powers. In half a year, he raised them all to the limit of the deity realm, but he couldn't touch the Zenith Heaven realm. If he wanted to reach the Zenith Heaven realm, he had to defeat Li Daokong, who was at the end of the Sword Dao River. This fellow was unreasonably strong. In the simulation trial, Hanju could already fight against a sixth mystic divine origin. However, when facing Li Daokong, even if he couldn't break through the defense of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, he would still find it difficult to defeat him. The difference in strength between the two disciples of the human school was extremely great. Hanju even suspected that the sect master was afraid that Li Daokong would be too arrogant, so he arranged for Li Xian'eo, this junior, to restrain him. With Li Xian'eo around, Li Daokong shouldn't dare to act recklessly. However, Li Daokong was capable of severing karma. After upgrading his Sword Dao mystical power, Hanju began to consider other aspects. Apart from being the descendant of an immortal emperor, he also had 3 connate providences: Unparalleled, Immortal Beauty, Top-Notch Charm; Destined Sword Fanatic, Top-Notch Sword Dao Aptitude, Top-Notch Sword Dao Learning Ability; Unparalleled Movement Technique, top-notch movement technique aptitude, Hanju felt that he could develop the providences of charm and movement techniques. Unparalleled movement technique, as the name implied, could raise one's movement technique mystical power. This was easy to comprehend. Unparalleled could also be developed. His inspiration came from Empress Hutu. Hanju discovered that he easily gained a favorable impression of Empress Hutu. This meant that she was extremely charming. No matter how she cultivated, this was the truth. Thinking about it carefully, she was the only one who survived in the Magus race. Other than karma and reincarnation, there had to be another reason. If Hanju could make his charm reach the extreme and make anyone have a favorable impression of him, wouldn't he be invincible? Hanju realized that he had discovered a strange idea. The Great Tao of Charm. 5 years later, Hanju raised the Great Traversal Divine Shadow to the maximum level he could reach. Great Traversal Divine Shadow. In battle, it can elevate speed and reaction. It can split into divine shadows and confuse the opponent. It can also directly travel through the myriad worlds. It's extremely powerful. He could already split into 1,000 divine shadows. The aura was completely identical to his main body. He could easily confuse his opponent in battle. Hanju tested it in the simulation trial. With the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, he was already invincible among the deity realm. If he didn't use the Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure, no one below the 6th mystic divine origin would be his match. Even if he battled one, he could still forcefully hold on for a period of time. Hanju's goal was to try not to use the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus to prevent the Zenith Heaven and sages from spying on him. Of course, if he could insta-kill the enemy, he could still use it. As long as he moved quickly, he would not be discovered. After becoming stronger, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing his enemies while checking his emails. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was attacked by disciples of the Chan School, X480. Your good friend Ji Xianshan was attacked by demons, X422103. Your disciple Long Hao established the Providence sect. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Divine General has obtained the ancient Heavenly Emperor's inheritance. His cultivation has increased greatly and he has stepped into the deity realm. Your good friend Tai Sutian has gone through the mortal world and become someone facing calamity. Your Tao companion Xing Hongxian has obtained the providence of the human emperor. Her cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Immortal Emperor Samsara was attacked by the Golden Crow Divine Clan, X204. Hanju clicked his tongue in wonder. They all looked amazing. This kid, Fang Liang, had transcended into the primordial era for the second time. What was he doing? If not for his favorability towards him not decreasing, Hanju would have treated him as a potential enemy. Long Hao actually established a sect and indeed wanted to go against the heavenly court. Hao Tian was really impressive. He actually succeeded in brainwashing him. The Heavenly Emperor really wanted to support the Divine General as the next Heavenly Emperor. This treatment was directly raised to the deity realm. Hanju was extremely envious. And Tai Sutian. No wonder she had descended into the mortal world. It was to wash away karma so that she could enter the calamity. Niwa had planned well. Hanju's eyes became gentle when he saw Xing Hongshuang's actions. He wondered how this girl had been doing recently. Wait! From the looks of it, could it be that this woman had become someone facing the calamity? Hanju's expression changed. Hanju cursed as he asked in his mind. Xing Hongxian was the first cultivator Hanju knew. Apart from Elder Iron, she often gave Hanju resources in the beginning. He had always remembered this favor. Even if a better woman than Xing Hongxian appeared in the future, her status in Hanju's heart would not change. 10 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. 3 words appeared in front of Hanju. She will die. Hanju knew that this was bad. He continued to ask, who will kill her? 10 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Hanju felt dizzy. He came to the scene. He opened his eyes and discovered that he was in a glorious hall. Dressed in a dragon and phoenix golden robe, Xing Hongxian was sitting on a dragon throne. After reincarnation, she was even more beautiful. Her brows were cold and sharp, and she had the domineering aura of an emperor. Her black hair was tied into a bun, and her red lips and red eyes were like shadows. She stared at the entrance of the hall. A woman slowly walked in. Isn't this Dao Comprehension sword? No! Tai Sutian. Tai Sutian wore a black robe and held a green jade sword. She entered the hall expressionlessly. Xing Hongxian asked, "Is this his intention?" Tai Sutian said expressionlessly, "You've already entered the calamity. He wants to sever karma now. Do you want to resist his will?" Xing Hongxian frowned, her eyes filled with sorrow. She took a deep breath and her expression became determined. "It's all thanks to him that I reached where I am today. If he wants me to die, I'll die." She closed her eyes. "Go ahead." Tai Sutian raised her hand and waved her sword. Sword light flashed, and the scene in front of Hanju shattered. Hanju's consciousness returned to reality. He frowned. Tai Sutian pretended to be Dao Comprehension sword and sent a fake message to kill Xing Hongxian. Damn it! Fortunately, he had checked in advance. Otherwise, such a melodramatic plot would have happened to him. No! He couldn't let this Tai Sutian live. Hanju decided to add Tai Sutian to the curse list that happened once every 10 years. Looks like if I don't enter the calamity, it will also drown the people around me. Hanju thought silently. He felt really stressed. Although he didn't transcend the calamity, he was fighting against the heavens. Perhaps this was the helplessness of an expert. Hanju sighed and continued cursing. A month later, he finished cursing all his enemies and started cultivating. In the blink of an eye, 12 years passed. Time seemed to have stopped in the Nine Nether Purgatory as it finally welcomed turmoil. A huge hole was suddenly torn open in a dark area. Figures flew in one after another, and many of them held huge islands. The commotion was huge and extremely spectacular. Hanju was alarmed. Not only him, but Diamond Rage, Jiang Yi, and the others also felt a huge aura coming. No one is allowed to leave this island. No one is allowed to spread their divine sense. Hanju immediately instructed. He didn't dare to spy for fear of exposing his location. Who was it? Hanju immediately asked in his heart. 100 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Jie School. Jie School? Hanju frowned. At the same time, in the void, Huang Zuantian followed beside Jing Tiangong and looked around curiously. Jing Tiangong held a red flag and emitted a light to block negative karma for all Jie School disciples. He praised, "Zuantian, your plan is not bad. The Nine Nether Purgatory is indeed empty. Our Jie School should be able to stay here." Huang Zuantian said respectfully, "Vice Sect Master is still the best. You have a supreme treasure that can isolate negative karma. Otherwise, my plan would have been for nothing." Jing Tiangong laughed. More and more Jie School disciples flew into the Nine Nether Purgatory. They didn't go too deep and began to put down the various islands. The elders scattered in all directions and began to cast array formations. Jing Tiangong suddenly asked, "Zuantian, do you think Jie School can win against this calamity?" Huang Zuantian replied, "The Jie School is a sage sect. How can we not have a chance of winning? However, I feel that the next calamity will be more stable. Now that there's the mysterious and unknown Dark Forbidden Lord and the powerful Heavenly Court, the Jie School won't be able to enter the calamity." Jing Tiangong nodded and asked, "What do you think of the Dark Forbidden Lord?" Again! Huang Zuantian cursed silently. Everyone knew that Jing Tiangong worshipped the Dark Forbidden Lord and boasted to everyone. How would the sect master dare to let such a person be the vice sect master? Huang Zuntian couldn't figure it out and felt that the entire Jie school was not smart. The Dark Forbidden Lord has remarkable abilities. He killed many powerful figures while staying hidden. It can be said to be world-shattering. However, no one knows his intentions. The Jie school needs to face it cautiously, Huang Zuntian said seriously. Jing Tiangong smiled and said, "Do you think the Dark Forbidden Lord is also hidden in the Nine Nether Purgatory?" Huang Zuntian's expression turned ugly. If the Dark Forbidden Lord was here, what would happen? He still wanted to cultivate properly. "I hope not," Huang Zuntian forced a smile. Jing Tiangong smiled faintly and did not say anything else. He looked at the disciples. Things quickly calmed down. The Jie school disciples did not dare to wander around in the Nine Nether Purgatory. Their position was very far from the hidden sect island, so they did not disturb Hanju. Everyone from the hidden sect was very curious about who had arrived. However, Hanju strictly forbade them from spreading their divine sense. Thus, they could only discuss with each other. After confirming that the Jie school would not affect him, Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. "Why do I have a bad feeling?" Hanju frowned and thought, will more forces escape to the Nine Nether Purgatory to avoid the calamity in the future? Damn it! Weren't they afraid of negative karma? Hanju was helpless. He could only suppress his confusion and continue cultivating. Time passed. Year after year passed. To mortals, a year was a long time. To cultivators in seclusion, a year was very short. 50 years passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Hanju stopped cultivating and started cursing the enemy while checking his emails. The immortal world was very calm over this period. There were fewer battles and all sorts of opportunities. After Fang Liang's soul transmigrated, he did not seem to return. He didn't understand what he was doing. As long as it didn't affect Hanju, he couldn't be bothered to stop it. At this moment, an angry shout sounded. "I'm Di Lantian, the Golden Crow Divine Clan's leader. I wish to recruit the demons of the myriad worlds and revive the Heavenly Court of the demons. The Heavenly Court was created by the ancestor of our demons on Buzhou Sacred Mountain. The immortals took our name, killed us, and extinguished our souls. This hatred will never be resolved. Children of the demon race, I'm waiting for all of you to gather on the immortal world's sun. Together, we will bring glory to the demons." Hanju was stunned. The Golden Crow Divine Clan wanted to create another Heavenly Court to fight against the Heavenly Court? What happened? Outside the cave, everyone from the hidden sect looked at Jiang Yi with different expressions. Jiang Yi's expression was awkward as he muttered, "How can the clan leader take it seriously? I've already said that it's a story." The Black Hell Demon Lord asked curiously, "What story?" "The story that the Heavenly Court was actually established by the demons?" Jiang Yi coughed and said, "Your sect master told me a story. I told it to my clansmen. Everyone from the hidden sect." How could he be so nosy? No! How could he be so concerned about the Heavenly Emperor? Hanju didn't expect the collapsed demon court to rise again and even wanted to fight the Heavenly Court. Hanju suddenly wanted to check the greatest winner of the calamity. Would it become the Golden Crow Divine Clan? Then, he shook his head. He felt that he couldn't easily scheme for the end of the calamity. It would only cause more chaos. He only needed to protect the people around him. Hanju didn't plan to ask Jiang Yi, lest it made him seem overly concerned about the situation of the calamity. He couldn't be suspected of being the Dark Forbidden Lord. Once someone suspected him, the sages would follow these thoughts and think of him. It wasn't impossible for a sage to read the thoughts of all living beings. Time passed. About 20 years later, some of the deity realm experts of the Jie school began to wander the Nine Nether Purgatory. They even passed by the hidden sect island. Fortunately, the island was small and was not discovered. As long as they didn't find hidden sect island, Hanju would pretend that they didn't exist. However, One thing was very annoying. When the mighty figure of the intercepting sect approached, Hanju no longer dared to absorb the negative karma outside the island. On this day, Hanju stopped cultivating and took out the Book of Misfortune to curse the enemy while checking his emails. Your grand disciple Fang Liang's soul has returned to his body. His cultivation has increased greatly and he has stepped into the Emperor realm. Your good friend Ji Xianshen was attacked by the Golden Crow Divine Clan, X7820. Your good friend Huang Zuntian was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor has activated the Divine Investiture Board and released the heavenly souls of the primordial immortal gods. Your disciple Long Hao has obtained the providence of the true dragon race. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Tai Su Tian has joined the demon race's heavenly court. Your good friend Dao Sovereign has awakened his chaotic physique and his bloodline has transformed. Your disciple Su Chi's divinity has increased. His bad luck has increased greatly. There were all sorts of fortuitous encounters. It felt like everyone's story could write a novel in itself. The chaotic battle of protagonists? Hanju suddenly started to look forward to what would happen when the calamity reached its peak. Chaotic battle of prodigies? The downfall of the gods? It's too dangerous. Although his talent was unparalleled, Hanju felt if he entered the calamity, he would probably be unable to protect himself. Fortunately, he chose to avoid the calamity and cultivate. More than 100 people have become ones facing the calamity. You have the following choices. 1. Enter the calamity immediately and become a person facing the calamity. You can obtain a mystical power inheritance and a great Dao fragment. 2. Avoid the calamity temporarily and stay away from conflict. You can obtain a great Dao fragment. 100? So many? Hanju was secretly shocked. He knew that it was such a coincidence. His good friends had become people facing calamity one after another. He didn't expect that only a small portion of his good friends would face the calamity. Hanju seemed to see a group of mighty figures standing above the heavenly Tao, looking down on the myriad worlds. They used all living beings as a chessboard, and the people facing the calamity were their pawns. Every time a stone landed, the calamity would stir up a storm. Hanju silently chose the second option. At this point, he gathered all 9 Grand Dao fragments again. Hanju fused the 9 Great Dao fragments and started to comprehend the Supreme Dao technique. He already had a cultivation technique. This time, he hoped to comprehend a mystical power. He thought of the Heavenly Emperor and Yua's dream entering mystical power. He also wanted this mystical power. It would make it easier for him to use his identity as the Dark Forbidden Lord. It was best not to be affected by karma and not be discovered by the sages. With a great Dao epiphany, he should be able to create a mystical power that surpassed a sage. With this thought, Hanju's consciousness entered a mysterious state. Numinous Palace. The Heavenly Emperor was holding a scroll in his hand and pondering when he suddenly looked up. Purple light appeared in the sky outside the hall, as beautiful as a painting. The Heavenly Emperor frowned and muttered, "Another mighty figure has appeared." Such a phenomenon could not be caused by an ordinary prodigy. Other than potential, one had to have a powerful cultivation level. Such a phenomenon seemed to have occurred 1,000 years ago. At this moment, a figure flew into the hall. It was the Divine General. The Divine General wore exquisite silver armor and a cloak that fluttered behind him like flames. The 2 phoenix wings on his crown fluttered without end. He bowed respectfully and said, "Your Majesty, the true dragon race has already declared that they will join Long Hao's Dragon Court. It's not only the true dragon race, but the sea demons have also joined the Dragon Court. Their power is rapidly rising." The Heavenly Emperor narrowed his eyes. Dragon Court. This kid is smart enough to rope in the dragon race. The Divine General asked, "Do you want to deal with it? We can take this opportunity to destroy it." "There's no need. It just so happens that the Heavenly Court is the sole dominant force. It's not a good thing. The Jie school has retreated. All of them have hidden in the Nine Nether Purgatory. The Chan school's attitude has also become subtle. The two sects of the Tao sect have their own ambitions. In any case, the Heavenly Court has already defeated the Divine Palace and the Demon Court. If they want to leave, so be it. I'm still afraid of helping them repay their karma. The Divine General nodded. The Heavenly Emperor asked, "Have you seen the past Heavenly Emperors?" The Divine General replied, "Yes, including Hao Tian." "Who chose you?" "Dai Jun." "Oh?" The Heavenly Emperor's expression changed slightly as his eyes flickered. The Divine General continued, "Di Juan taught me a mystical power and told me that this calamity will become the first game of chess for the sages. As long as the Heavenly Court is not destroyed, it will be considered a win." The Heavenly Emperor was deep in thought. Di Juan also said that Hanju, who you brought along to listen to the Tao lecture, is a variable. He hopes you can grasp it well. After the Divine General said that, he also started thinking. He had been thinking about this, too. The Heavenly Emperor smiled and said, "I already know. Next, cultivate Di Juan's mystical power well and strive to be as strong as the Heavenly God General. I trust you the most. Don't disappoint me." "I understand." The Divine General cupped his hands and bowed before leaving. The Heavenly Emperor looked up at the purple mist outside the hall and chuckled. "So be it. The more chaotic it is, the better. This is a good opportunity for me to calm down." At the same time, the various powers in the immortal world were alarmed by the heavenly Tao phenomenon. Not only the immortal world, but all the worlds in the universe could also see it. Even those in the Netherworld and the Nine Nether Purgatory. The Black Hell Demon Lord's gaze passed through the Tao field and looked at the purple mist above the Nine Nether Purgatory. He couldn't help but sigh. The calamity is the calamity. There are all sorts of influential figures. Jiang Yi said disdainfully, "Give me time and I'll become the strongest existence in the calamity." New SD rise at NVLBIN. Ko the Black Hell Chicken said angrily, "The previous generation's strongest has died. Do you also want to follow in his footsteps? You don't even seem to be able to defeat the Great Freedom Golden Crow Divine Emperor." Jiang Yi's expression instantly turned ashen. This matter had always been a pain in his heart. Ever since the Black Hell Chicken learned of it, it had always used this matter to hurt him. It was too detestable. Murongchi suddenly sighed. The immortal world is so chaotic. I wonder how Feng Liang is doing. At the mention of Feng Liang, the other disciples also sighed. They were all angry with Feng Liang for not coming back with Murongchi. At the same time, in the Khanate cave abode, Hanju was still comprehending the Supreme Tao technique. Under the sensing of the Great Tao, countless inspirations gathered in his mind and gradually formed the mystical power he wanted. It was complicated and mysterious, causing him to sink into it.